start tonight out with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. I'd like to have a roll call.
Rico.
Here.
Boyce. Here. McCullough. Here. Bozic.
Here.
Morelli.
Here.
Shalinski.
Here.
Lewandowski.
Here.
Rick Rumchek is here. And Sherry Hartman.
Let the minutes indicate that we have Mr. Spooner here. All right, on our agenda tonight we have the approval or go to bid for our senior transportation. As in your packets, we did send you a letter that we received from Standard Shuttle. I will read that letter to you here just so everybody knows for the minutes. The purpose of this letter is to provide an adequate notice of our intent to cancel our contract with Lockport Township. We would like to inform you that under the current circumstances, conditions, we are not able to continue to provide the transportation service to Lockport Township. The effective date of this termination will be November 1st, 2015. Unfortunately, we cannot cover our basic expenses and realize a responsible profit under the current contract terms. If something can be worked out between now and the effective date, we will be happy to continue our service. We value the relationships that we have and developed over the years, but we cannot continue to operate our business at a loss. We appreciate your understanding in this matter. Okay, that being said, I did forward this to the attorney and have a conversation with him. I thought he'd be here at this point. Obviously, he's going to be here for the other meeting. But he kind of indicated to me, and it was my thought, that I don't think we can work out a contract with them. I think that would be, we already, under the emergency system situation that we were put under 2 months ago, we worked something out. Now we have time. They gave us over 30 days. In order to redo the contract, we have to go to bid or take it over ourselves. So that's why I called this workshop. We got to make a decision whether we want to do it ourselves, take over the system. We'll just hire somebody to run the bus, and we'll hire the bus drivers, or since we already own the buses, or we can go to bid. But we have to go to bid and get it in the paper, all done by November 1st so we can keep the buses rolling.
When they said that they cannot operate under the way this contract is written, what do they mean by that?
They're not making any money. They're losing money every month. They don't want to lose money.
So
the reason is because of their liability insurance. They were quoted like a 12% increase for liability, which they don't have the actual figures. That's what their estimate is. They're going to go up in November. So that would put them, what do we figure?
They indicated to me $6,000 short.
Okay. So instead of at least breaking even, they would be that much under because of the insurance being that high on them.
When does the original contract expire? Are they ending the contract early?
Yes.
And can they do that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Either one of us can with a 30-day written notice. Right?
Right. I'll let the minutes indicate that Gary Mueller is here now. Okay. Thank you, Gary, for coming early.
Sorry about that.
Well, I appreciate you coming in. Just to bring you up to abreast, I did read the letter, and I explained that I don't feel comfortable trying to renegotiate a contract with them, that we either have to go to bid or take it over ourselves.
Agreed.
So this is the workshop. We're trying to make that decision whether to take it over ourselves or go to bid.
So we're at that point where it's basically those two options. Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much it.
Is that standard to have a contract that either one can break?
It is with a sufficient notice.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
As long as there's a adjustment in those
timeframe. It's interesting because I think the main reason that they gave us had to do with insurance, which we actually had talked to them about when we entered into this a couple of months ago. So.
Right.
But they didn't have the quote yet at that point. They were guessing, I guess.
Yeah,
as to
because
what
their
was gonna
insurance
be.
didn't come up till November. So even the letter that now that they got from their insurance carrier, which they did send a copy, or not a copy, but a letter that they had written them that just said they could figure on this 11 to 12 to something percentage, which would be like 22,000 or whatever the amount was. And Ron said they figured 6,000 in the hole. I didn't see that, but that's what
they told
he
me.
told you.
Yeah, that they'd be $6,000 short. And if we can come up with the $6,000, they'd be more than happy to continue the service. But I feel that would be not going by contract, we'd be giving them something extra, and at that point, we better go to bid. I don't want to do anything illegal or wrong, and, you know, or look like I'm fixing bids or anything to that extent. So at this point, we should go to bid or take it over ourselves. I did have a discussion with Gary. Gary kind of indicated to me, I guess I shouldn't talk for you, Gary, but I got the impression that you felt it would probably be in our best interest to take it over ourselves at this point.
It may be easiest. The real keys are going to be the following. One is you have to figure out our insurance, if that will adversely affect our insurance. Secondly, we have to also figure out how are we going to pay the employees, because you have to, and that's why when you and I talked about Ron, we have to talk to the accountant, because we may have the components to have the system in place, but we don't have the people. And I don't know if there's a line item within the senior fund for employees or payroll,
Right.
which then we have to go about how do we get that put in
Well,
place.
I
So
did
we
talk to
actually pay.
Dave. He indicated to me that what we'd need to do is we'd have to amend our budget.
Right.
He said we could go ahead and hire the people, bring them on, and do it in backside, you know. We could take them out of the line item that we're currently paying standard shuttle, but we should amend our budget to make it clear and change standard shuttle into employees' line items,
Right.
which we can do in December. We'd have to post it for 30 days, have a public hearing, and amend our budget for the year, which is a little bit of a hassle, I guess. We gotta, you know, put it in paper, go through the motions, but I don't see any real problems with it.
How long was that contract good for?
The original contract was good for till 2017.
Okay.
They broke that contract, letting me know about 3 weeks before they couldn't get buses. So we went into that emergency mode and we bought the buses. Now
Okay.
they,
So in other words, I mean, this was just good till 2017, correct?
right,
They terminated recently within.
yeah.
So with that, I mean, in any binding contract, if there isn't, I mean, if there's a clause there, I haven't seen it, but if there's a clause within that 30 days, I'm saying anyone can exercise that. But if we incur any costs from breaking that contract, can we recuperate any cost that would cost us for breaking that contract in the first
Direct
place?
answer without hitting in front of me is no. And it's because there's a 30-day notice provision, just as we could have
In the contract itself?
just as we could have terminated them with a 30-day notice period and not having any liability come back on us. Similarly for them, they gave us the 30-day notice and then they walked away. Or you would renegotiate a contract with them, which I would think is not in our best interest. If you're going to deal, it's either we take it over or if we're going to have any other entity do it, my strong suggestion is you need to then bid that.
So it's only the insurance.
Well, I was just gonna ask, I mean, so what they're saying is what we've been paying them every month, they can't make a profit.
They can't make a profit.
And we're up to, I know it went down after we bought the buses, but it's still around 15,000 a month, correct?
13.
13 because it went down because we bought the buses. So they're saying they're about 6,000 short, so they're saying it's gonna be about $20,000 a month to run the buses. And
No, the $6,000 would be over the year, not every month.
So we're $5 short.
So divide by
$500.
Monthly.
Yeah, about $500.
Right.
500
Yeah,
monthly.
monthly.
Yeah, $500 more a month.
Okay. Well, did we ever look into, like, you know, if we did take it over, like, what we'd be paying
What our
insurance,
costs would be.
what we'd be paying.
I
payroll.
did,
Sherry
but right
Kendall.
now, because our TORMA goes on, a fiscal year for TORMA, which starts June 1st and goes till the end of May. So even, we got our buses after that June 1st, so our buses are insured, but they won't increase us until next June 1st. So right now, we were like riding for free for this calendar, for their fiscal year. And then, there's no exact quote yet, because then it wouldn't start till 2016. And it probably would go by the dollar amount, because that's how they do our equipment. And they figure out the dollar amount that we insure it to, and then the liabilities, of course, is totally different. And then workman's comp is by the payroll. And, that's all done, and that's done like at the end of the year. They'll get the payroll and all that, and then they'll figure it out for the following year.
So we had insurance on the buses ourselves, but they were paying liability
They have
insurance.
to pay a liability.
They have to, yeah, because they're the first, we have, our insurance, but they're the first as far as liability, because it's their operation,
Sure.
and we're named as an additional insured with them. So if there's a liability issue, their insurance would pay before ours.
So I haven't been around that long, so I know they've been around like since 2000.
Right, they're at the
So,
first, they took it over.
Every year or every 4 years or whatever the contract was for,
Mhm.
I would assume that just because things go up in price, that they've been raising the price every 4 years.
Couldn't tell you the exact amount, but when we did the contract 2 years ago, we had an increase of a percentage. I couldn't tell you that percentage right off the top of my head per year that it would go up.
Okay, so this last contract, just
But
things
when they broke-
skyrocketed on them or something?
When they
I
broke the
just-
contract with the buses,
Uh-huh.
that null and voided that, we bought the buses, our attorney
Right.
renegotiated the contract with them at a lot lower price, and now they're saying
Right,
that's not enough, they can't make it.
Are
right.
they leasing the buses from us, or we just lower the price to
That's
cover
exactly
that?
how it worked out.
Originally, we were leasing from them, so they had
Right.
a way that they had ownership or ability to use it. Then when we bought it, it was them using our buses. So we basically had a consulting or independent contractor agreement with them, that you go ahead and run our buses, but they're our buses. So with that though, you're gonna have to pay for things like insurance, you have a gas in them, you gotta have the people that drive them, you gotta pay for comp, all that other stuff on your people. The one thing that's interesting though is that it should, at least the way the numbers break out, it should cost about $13,000 a month, because that's what it currently costs for the same 3 people and the same buses. So I guess for this board's looking forward, that's kind of what it's been costing anyway. So you're gonna have at least an idea what it's gonna cost you if y'all take it over going forward, about what it's gonna cost.
We only get about $600 back from the money they take in.
Right.
Fees.
Yeah, the riders, the $2 a trip.
And that's, we're doing that and keeping it separate now, because that's what they wanted, it kept separate, because it was all getting mixed in, so.
How many hours a week are those buses on the road?
From 7 until 3.
7 to 3:30, I think, or something like that. It's
They're
8
back-
hours, it's an 8-hour day for them, I know that.
They meet at 7 at the garage, and then they're back at the garage at 3, right?
Yeah.
That Reynolds garage, is that where they pick them up? Now, how many drivers do they employ?
2 full-time, or really part-time.
Yeah.
2 of them are 3 days a week, and 2 of them are 2 days a week.
there's
So it's 4
drivers.
part-timers.
And then the supervisor girl.
Right, then Michelle. So 5 employees total.
So what kind of numbers are we looking at? What's this gonna cost
Well,
us?
it should cost our senior fund about the same amount. We're just, instead of paying them to pay for everything, we're paying for everything.
So
Yeah,
we're
who-
looking, I'm sorry.
Who will be in charge of
The day-to-day
the
operation.
day-to-day, the hiring, the firing?
Well, the hiring and firing will be our office, my office, But the actual day-to-day operation, I would like to bring on Michelle, because she knows where we can go, what we can do. There's limitations as to what our bus can do. I just found out recently we can't take people to the train station.
You can't go into the train or bus stations, you
station.
gotta have a special, like,
License.
license or
Through the
something
state.
that you get from the state and all that. And our drivers aren't, licensed for that,
Licensed,
that's. And then also she does, which we included in the contract, she would do the general maintenance such as, the things for the,
Scheduling of the,
diesel and just the general stuff, not like if an engine went, but just the general maintenance, oil changes and all that.
Tires.
The tires, that would be ours, right?
Tires are extra. We pay extra.
Anything that really is the major permit bus, we would pay. She just does the general road stuff that would be included. But now it would be all ours,
So
so.
we would be looking at the part-time drivers, manager / dispatcher.
Yeah, she would, and she works 9 hours, didn't I say?
yeah, about 9 hours a day.
She works about
So she
9.
would be on full-time.
Yeah.
She would be the only one
She'd be the only
full-time.
full-time employee we'd be bringing in.
Everybody else would be part-time. And then,
Her office would be, is she
Well-
more mobile, or is
To
she?
be quite honest with you, I believe we could have her work out of this office. I haven't decided really which way to go with that until I know which way this board wants to go. If we're gonna go to bid, then I don't have to worry about it. If we're gonna hire him on, then I could, our part-time secretary, one quit. The other one that was part-time is leaving within about a week. So we do have an empty desk here. I would bring her on full-time and let her work out of this office, and she would also take on other responsibilities of this township as an employee.
Who would? Michelle? I'm sorry, who would? Michelle?
Michelle, yeah.
yeah, because at that point, Ron would be her boss, so it doesn't matter if it's just the senior bus or the senior programs or
Yeah.
whatever,
She'll be working out of our senior line item, so I would have to keep her on senior
projects.
projects.
Is she aware of this?
I haven't talked to her until this board makes a decision.
But you see how we can approve
I
this,
believe-
all of a sudden we
yeah.
don't have somebody.
Yeah.
Because she's
No.
signed it and all.
I believe through, discussions I've had with other people, she's all on board with it, but I don't want to really talk to her until I know the direction this board's going.
How long
I
has she
didn't
been
want to
doing
make her,
it?
she's the
Since it's
original.
original?
Yeah, 2000, when did buses come out, 2000?
2000.
15 years.
She's the
15
original?
years. Yeah, she's been doing these buses for 15 years.
I just want to, this is my take on it. Like you said, since 2000, okay, they've been there. And, this last thing that happened a couple months ago, it happened, obviously they didn't have their numbers right, or, we're their only account, so as the end of October, Standard Shuttle no longer exists, correct? As far as we know.
As far as I know, once we take over, we take it over.
I know we need the buses and everything like that, but my opinion or my take would be, we keep the buses rolling one way or the other through bid, or we take them over, but I say if we're gonna wash our hands of Standard Shuttle, then we should post her position and just don't give it to her. That's my take. I don't know if there's anybody that works for the township that would be interested in that spot, but I think.
She had bosses?
Yes, she does.
She had bosses.
She has bosses, yes.
Pat, am I
Yeah,
correct?
Rendell's,
Paulson,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
At Rendell's.
Yes.
On 53rd.
But not necessarily at Standard Shuttle. It's kind of another entity, but
Yeah,
and they kind of own it, but they really don't
Yeah, she just
pay
works
attention to
for,
it.
Right.
Does that make sense?
What if you went out for bid and see where the bids come in and then make a decision at that point?
then if their bids don't come in good, then we're out of bus service.
Well,
for a while.
then you know that it's better to take it over ourselves. I'm just thinking, you kind of helped them out of a jam by getting these buses when they couldn't get a lease. They could maybe go one extra month for you, even if you paid them the $500 extra a month.
I don't think you can go out to bid and then backtrack. Once you go out to bid, you
Yeah, take a
gotta
bid.
take a bid and,
I don't know. According to my engineers, it's the wording in the
Yeah,
actual
if
bid.
it's-
the wording,
if it's-
yeah.
yeah, you don't have to accept the bid. If it ends up being something, let's say, for example, we think it's gonna cost $13,000 a month, and when we go out to bid, we find out it's gonna be $29,000 a month, well, then you don't have to take those bids, because you know full well that even worst case scenario, you run it exactly like they ran it, it should be really closer to that $13,000 number.
Or they bid $10,000, every year it changes, every year we're going back to bid, and it could go up, down, and we're doing this every year.
Especially when you have in there is the price of fuel,
Yeah.
in there is the fact that we have buses, but
On a bid, can you put in there?
You know what, there are buses.
4-year contract.
There are buses.
Why shouldn't somebody else drive our buses
Yeah,
at this
so
point?
they're locked in.
What's that?
yes. I would
Why?
recommend it
Well, sure.
before you.
So it ain't like, we're gonna be jumping through hoops every year.
True.
At this point, if they're our own buses, why do we want to go out to bid and somebody else drive our buses?
Yeah.
We might as well sell our buses and go out to bid that way, you know?
If we got another option and everything else.
Yeah, it seems like you're doubling up your insurance and
You're correct.
everything else. It's-
You can park them in the back.
Michelle knows
Every
what's
damn
going
back
on,
there.
there's a lot to do
Yeah,
with that.
I would really want to bring Michelle on board.
Well, what's their job curtail?
I mean, you gotta realize all those calls
Well,
coming
yeah.
in
I
and
mean, she's been
scheduling
doing
and
this
picking
for
up and
years.
making sure, you know.
I'm not gonna expect, I
Offer
can't expect
someone-
my secretaries to do it, they've got a full load.
Okay, that's fine. I just don't know.
I do have to
Once
say
we
that
hire
we've had
somebody
in every other
full-time, they get
department-
insurance, they get benefits.
In every other department in this township, we've had people being hired without question of those officials. I think I would like to have that same, be able to hire who I want to hire in my office too. I mean, we've had in Debbie's office, in the Mason, the assessor's office, we brought on an employee to do the commercial.
That was my opinion, like I said, everybody has one, so.
Yeah.
Let's take it for a vote, take it for a
Question.
vote.
The highway department just hired somebody for over $20 an hour without any question. Michelle, I figured at $40 or 40 hours is under $20,
I
it's
just
18.
don't understand how 2 months ago, I know you said they didn't have their quote and that, but they've been running this for 15 years. And like you said, we did them a big favor a couple months ago, letting them out of that contract. And now like I said, I think we just wash our hands of them.
Well, I don't think
we should
Michelle
wash our
is
hands.
anything to do.
But she's not
I mean,
part
she
of it.
was just working for them, just like I'm working for the
Yeah.
township. She is not,
And she worked at Reynolds every day.
Yeah, but she was just an employee.
no, she was in a separate warehouse and everything. She wasn't in the Reynolds part.
It's a separate, like a separate entity.
Mhm.
She didn't work on 53. She
No,
wasn't there.
She was down behind the ballpark,
They're all-
off of the old Jefferson Street, you know, by Central High,
Mhm.
that little yard there.
Well, I think the first two things we have to vote on here at this workshop are whether we're gonna take it over or not. And I will make the motion that we take it over as opposed to go to bid.
Can we do both?
Go, take it over and go to bid?
Go to bid and prepare ourselves to take it over ourselves.
I think that's what we just discussed.
We just discussed that.
It's
I
a
think
double
it's going
sword,
to,
isn't it?
it's going to just
Plus
delay the
the
inevitable,
time.
and we're gonna run out of short, we're gonna be without a bus service for 3 weeks. And we have people depending on this bus.
So you had never checked with them to see if they'd go next month? You don't
I don't
want to do
think
that?
there'd be.
Well, they can't. I mean, I don't think they will because their insurance
They already
is
said-
November.
Oh, their insurance is November.
November.
They sent me a letter, they're done. Now, if I start negotiating with
Yeah.
another contract, that's,
Then
you know,
gotta go
I'm
to
not
bid.
gonna do
Then
that.
you gotta go to bid.
I gotta go to bid. So we gotta go to bid
How many
tomorrow.
companies are out there like this?
The only other one
Great
that
question.
we
where
know
are-
of is the taxi
Yeah, the taxi
thing that came
service.
in one year. When that,
Telecam, AB,
Telecam.
yeah, telecam.
that was the only one that,
How were they compared to?
I don't know if
I
they
don't know
ever
what
did the bid that time, did
Did
they?
they put a bid in or not, to be honest with you?
Because
Did they
they came,
cover-
but then,
Did they cover during a downtime one? Did we ever have to use somebody in a downtime?
I'm unaware of it, not since I've been supervisor.
Okay, I thought we did at one point.
I know they, I was told just recently that they did, before we started our bus service, we paid the taxi cabs.
Yeah,
That's what I was
but
referring to.
just
That's what I was-
for a couple, not really as a regular service, because we didn't have the senior fund, just for a couple people that
Back
needed,
before the
that
senior
didn't
fund.
have money to get a ride to the hospital or something. We didn't have a senior fund or anything yet.
And I did hear there was a lot of complaints about that.
Mhm.
I'm gonna second the motion based on the fact that those are our buses. We have to take care of our seniors. This contract ends in November. And the fact that, I don't know, off the top of my head, how many of these services are really out there, it's kind of unique.
And,
So I'm gonna second your motion.
okay, I got a motion and a second to take over the bus service as of November 1st.
With all costs then? Is
What's
it
that?
with all costs?
With all costs, well, it'll be our service.
Which also, just so everybody knows on the board, that means with that, you still have to then do your amended budget. You have to do your posting of your amended budget. You gotta get the line items so that they match. You gotta get it so that it goes from being a rental situation to being a payroll and expense line items. So there are, it's more than just that. I think everybody knows that, but I just wanna make sure everybody understands that
Right.
Put that
we
in
got
the
some other
motion.
steps to go with
But
that.
it was indicated to me that that all doesn't have to fall in place before November 1st.
Correct, that part we can
Work on and
work, but you also have to
get it done, but we will get that done.
Is that something we'll have to do tonight in the meeting?
That's
Can
the
we
next
get
one
that?
on the agenda.
I had suggested perhaps a special meeting between now and November, but I don't know what you guys
Kind
have
of thinking,
scheduled.
indicating maybe at the water board,
Yeah, we've talked
whatever
about that
else we
too.
need to, once we make this decision, then we'll get everything in place to get passed at the next workshop before November.
I just got a question for Gary.
Uh-huh.
If it went out to bid,
Mhm.
what is the timeline on something like that? I
You
mean,
can-
you place it yourself?
You place it yourself.
You've got till October 14th to give us a bid,
Sure,
and you still don't have to accept it.
correct. But you create whatever that timeline is, because you're creating it. So, yeah.
Well, we do have to publish it first.
Sure.
In the paper, obviously, so when it's time getting in the paper, then we have to set the dates, and then we have to have a public, opening of the bids, and a public hearing for the accept the bids, right?
Yes.
But then we just make
Okay, we have a
to take
motion
over.
and a second. Can I have a roll call, please?
Bodisich,
Yes.
Boyce,
Yes.
Morelli,
No.
Lewandowski,
Yes.
Alberico.
Yes. Okay, motion carries. I will put the things in place to take over the bus service completely on our own. Next thing on the agenda, real quickly, because we do have another meeting at 7, the IMRF approval. Everybody was sent a resolution in their packet. And this goes along with the bus service, being we are bringing on 4 part-time drivers or 5 part-time drivers, whatever it ends up to be. Right now, our IMRF is set that after 600 hours, we have to give our employees the benefit of IMRF, the pension plan. There is an option with the IMRF program that we could raise that to $1,000. So I would like to pass the resolution, resolution number 2015-7, Lockport Township, to raise the IMRF part-time employees up to 1,000 hours.
I have a question, if you
Sure.
don't mind. Is this 1,000 hours standard now for IMRF? How long, it says it because of the pension
I think it's standard for anyone new. We were always grandfathered in because we were at 600.
Okay.
Now, the ones that are at 600 are still 600. The other ones, anybody new will be 1,000 if this passes.
Okay.
And just-
So my question to you, Attorney Mueller, is then, we did this resolution here. Should it state for all new employees?
It doesn't have to,
Does this replace the 600-hour one?
yeah, and it replaces for anyone new
From
that,
the state.
That's a
State
new,
forward.
any new employees or any new participating IMRF.
I just wanted to clarify that.
She said that everyone else would still be grandfathered in under the 600 if they've been participating.
And why are we doing this?
Because if we keep the drivers all under 1,000, then they don't have to pay. Otherwise, we'd have to start paying for all the drivers. And since they're only part-time, we don't want to have to pay, because mostly they're just retired guys that are just doing it for, extra cash.
money.
So they don't, they already are collecting their retirement, and they don't want to they have to pay in, and then at $10 an hour, there's not much for them to pay in,
They have to pay in?
Yes, they'd have to pay in 4.5%. And then we'd have to pay in whatever our percentage is.
If you have some people though that are driving 3 days, and that's 7 hours a day, because they get their hour off, times 50 weeks, they're already there.
Right, so that's why we're gonna bring in,
So that,
So they're
two
gonna-
guys, whoever might be it, the other 3 that you talked about before, may
they're gonna
not
have to cut
reach
back
that
on hours. There's gonna be,
for those
they
guys.
have to stay under 1,000 hours, and that'll be part of the dispatcher's job to make sure that all part-time employees stay under 1,000 hours.
I just want to make sure that this is probably good, I shouldn't call them employees yet, but this should be good with the employees.
This should be very good for the employees that would be doing this
That we would be
because,
looking at the hire.
yeah,
Because
because
there are retirees.
they're retirees that are only getting so much. And for them to put in 4.5% and then paying their taxes, they wouldn't want to work. They wouldn't want to work for that amount, And I did talk to Plainfield, because Plainfield has been running their bus 8 years, 7 years?
Yeah.
They first started out with Standard doing it, and then they started out with their own. Now, they only have it 2 or 3 days. And they have had people that have been there 8 years. But they start out at about 10 or 11 an hour. They have 2 guys that are at 16 or 18, but they're retired and they don't have IMRF or anything.
What's the average age of our drivers?
What's that?
What do you
59,
think the average
60?
age of our drivers?
I don't know, I really don't know the new guys, but
Late 60s, early 70s, maybe.
So paying into that really wouldn't benefit them in the long run.
you have to be,
Okay,
work
we
there for
kept
10
that
years before
higher.
you
You have to work
invest
10
in-
years to get any benefit
So
from
we're
it.
paying 4% for nothing.
So there's 5 drivers right now.
Or there's
Someone's
five
just hired?
What's that?
What's
Some of the drivers
Was someone
don't
just
be-
hired then?
Actually, I thought it was only the 4 driver, but you indicated there's a 5th.
There's 5?
I think there was 5 on
Five.
the list, so they must have somebody that fills in.
Well, I think the 5th one was Michelle.
Oh, yeah,
That's
Michelle.
where there are 5
That's right.
employees.
Oh, that's right, because she was,
She
So I thought there was just 4
Only four.
drivers.
the 2,
right now.
yeah, the 2 for the 3 days and 2 for 2 days.
Right, so the 2 for
But
the
they
3
can,
days is a
they
problem.
can,
Right.
switch up.
And it will be, it will.
Last
sell.
question on this, now this goes for all employees then, correct? All
This would be for all
Not just
employees
for
of
drivers.
everywhere.
And include
So
me.
John's
Even his
employees said when, because John, when you get somebody on and they come on for summer, they just hit the 600 and they have to
But that
join.
includes my department?
Yes, so
No.
now they won't have to because,
I can bring them up to 1,000.
If this is in place, can they pay in early? Let's say a guy, somebody comes on and says, hey, I want to join right now. Or do they have to work? They can join anytime they want?
If they come in
What do
as
you
a
mean?
full-time employee.
if they come on as a full-time employee, we have to put them on.
Okay, all right, that was my question.
If we know that
I wasn't
the
sure if this was
participating
limiting.
hours are
Okay.
gonna be 1,000,
We have.
we have to, we don't have a choice.
Okay.
So I'll make the motion that we pass the resolution 2015-7.
I'll second it.
I got a second. Any other questions? Hearing none, can I have a roll call, please?
Alberico?
Yes.
Boyce?
Yes.
Lewandowski?
Yes.
Fadisich?
Yes.
Morelli?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you very much. Any citizens wishing to address this board here tonight? Hearing none, I guess we can call for an adjournment.
Make the motion.
I'll second it.
Second by,
Me.
okay, by Mike. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Guys have it. Thank you very much, everybody, for your time. Order. We all start with the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, everybody. We'll start out with a roll call of our officers.
Alberico,
Here.
Radisich,
Here.
Boyce,
Here.
Lewandowski.
Here.
Morelli,
Here.
Collector Lance McCullough.
Here.
Highway Commissioner John Shalinski.
Here.
Attorney Gary Mueller.
President.
Deputy Clerk Michelle Rudder. And myself. Present.
Thank you. All right, everybody should have received in their packet the minutes of the regular September 14th regular meeting of last month. I need a motion to pass the minutes.
So moved. I'll second it.
I need a motion by John Badisich, seconded by Mike Lewandowski. Any questions of the minutes here tonight? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. You have the bills of the Highway Department of $42,868.00.
I'll make a motion.
Hang on, I think that should be 64. That's the previously paid, right?
Total bill is 64.
64,227.35.
Oh, I'm sorry, I wrote down the wrong number. The bills, total bills to be approved are $64,227.35. I'm sorry, I made that mistake.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
I got a motion by Barbara Boyce.
Second.
And second by John Badisich. Any questions of today's bills?
These were road and bridge.
For the road and bridge?
Yeah. Yep. John, Absolute Automotive, is that still, what's his name?
Yeah.
Will he get a new shop? The
Uh,
one that had the shop that got down? or-
yes, yeah. He's been coming out to the highway department fixing the vehicles.
Oh,
That's one of the reasons why we like using him. He'll come out on the weekends when we need the trucks, you know, it's short term. And, you know, I think when Jack was using him, he was here in Lockport.
Right.
We just kind of carried that over. But his building is almost up and going.
oh, okay.
Should be pretty close.
He's coming out on the weekends?
He comes out all different times.
Really?
Whenever we need him, truck breaks down and we need a quick turn, then he's there.
All right, any other questions of the bills tonight? Hearing none, can I have a roll call, please?
Badisich.
Yes.
Alberico.
Yes.
Lewandowski.
Yes.
Boyce.
Yes.
Morelli.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Highway Commissioner's report.
Okay, thank you very much. We're getting as much patching as we can done. We're looking to put a bid in together to pave a little bit of roads. I got a preliminary estimate from our engineer, Bob Bonack. It was much higher than we anticipated, so he broke out different streets by price, and so we're going to try to get some roads paved before the end of the year. We're still looking for a boom mower. Found a used one in southern Illinois, but we need to take a look at that before we make that purchase. We're looking at 140-something thousand for a new one and 85,000 for a 2.5-year-old one with 1,000 hours. But I don't know; it might be much bigger than we really need. So we're trying to figure out the best way of replacing that. Last month for chipping, and we'll be putting the plows on pretty soon. So we've had a lot of vehicles breaking on us, so we're in the process of getting those fixed. Gas tank leaking on one, exhaust fell off our chipper truck on another. So it's just, you know, general maintenance stuff. We do have one box being painted. It's got several rusty holes in it. Instead of investing in a brand new box and spending that big dollar amount, we were able to get it painted for about, maybe a tenth of the cost, somewhere in there. Give us about 5 more years. So the guys are working hard. Found out recently one of our longtime part-timers, Ben Mueller, is no longer going to be with us over the summers. He's moving on to bigger and better things with his internship, so we wish him well. And what else? sidewalk program's been going great, and it was great to see everybody at the senior breakfast. That was fun today. And so really what we're gonna pay, we're still kind of getting the roads patched that need to be patched, and then we're gonna concentrate on culverts. So we're trying to mix them both in together so people aren't waiting too long that have a culvert issue. But we're getting there, so things are rolling right along.
So what roads are you getting paved? You said a couple.
Well, we had quoted Thornton, McGregor, Northern, East-West Circle, and Mary Knoll, and I think part of Oak. And so those are the ones we're looking at. I think Thornton's gonna last another year without having been repaved. The problem is anywhere there's curbs and they have to grind, that's where a lot of the costs are incurred. So I think the quote came in at about $280,000 for those roads. And I was looking really to spend about $150,000 this year, so.
And that's gonna go out to bid.
Oh, absolutely. And that's about all I got.
Thank you.
Sure.
Salt prices this year, they good, coming in good?
We are actually exactly where we were last year. They did come down from last year, so they're anywhere from, let's see, the year before last we were paying $51 a ton, then it went up to $86 a ton. That was what we were paying. Some municipalities, Homer I think was $107 a ton, and then now most of them came down between 60 and 90, somewhere in there. And when you offer the state contract bid for salt, and I didn't understand this, I thought the companies award the contract and everybody pays the same amount. Basically, for the salt, what they do is they throw all the bids on the table, and the different salt companies say, I'll take this guy's, I want that guy's, and that's kind of how it works. That's why we got a lower price than Homer. Frankfurt, I think, was paying like $139. He was, and unfortunately, you have to order all your salt in February for the following year, so you don't know how much you're still going to use that year, how much you need. You don't know what the prices are, so it's an educated guess, but I think we're in great shape this year for salt. And preliminary reports from my weather people down in Springfield and Highway Commissioner Association meetings, they're all hearing that it's going to be cold, but we're not going to have a lot of snow. So that could be good for the following year if we don't have to order too much salt, and maybe we can purchase a much needed vehicle.
All right,
Yeah, John, did the lady that addressed us last month?
Yes.
Did you do a follow-up with her?
Yes, I've been out to her house several times before she came in. Basically, as I explained last week, that part of the street actually sank. So she's in a low part, and then it kind of goes down her driveway and up. I went back out there with the foreman, and we looked at some ideas. I had the engineer from Morris Engineering go out there. His actual name was Steve Dahl, but no relation to the radio Steve Dahl. And so he was looking at options. He recommended or came up with what he thought might be a solution of a French drain, but he would have to, and it hasn't rained since we've been out there, so he would have to calculate how much water's standing there. And then he's talking about on the easement, dig a pit, fill it with, have some fabric around it, fill it with rock, put the fabric on the top, then you can put your dirt and grass over, and then put like a little pipe going to the French drain. My question to him, but he's the engineer and I'm not, would be when it rains really hard, wouldn't that water flow in there first and then back up on the street anyways? He said, well, it depends on, you know, if you got hard clay on the bottom. So he's supposed to send me some dimensions and sizes of that thing.
She's aware.
Yeah, she was out, she came out while we were there, and her husband was taking the garbage out while we were there, and we talked to him. You know, to fix that, actually, I'll be honest with you, the Bonnie Bray subdivision is, the stormwater sewers are pretty much, they're going downhill quickly. That whole neighborhood's probably gonna need new sewers, streets, curbs, and we're talking millions of dollars. So the engineering company said that they would help me looking for different types of grants and trying to see what phases they can do. You know, that's going to be in the next 10 years. That's going to be a huge project. So, but yeah, we've addressed the situation. We haven't fixed it. You know, I don't tell any stories. We're working on it. It's just a long-term deal there. Yep, absolutely.
All
All right, any citizens wishing to address the board tonight? Seeing none, I have no other business in the Road and Bridge Fund. I would ask for an adjournment. So, motion by John Badisich.
I'll second it.
Second by Barbara Boyce. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. Moving on to our General Assistance Fund. You have the minutes again in your packet of the September 14th regular meeting. I need a motion to pass the minutes.
I'll make that motion.
I got a motion by Mike Lewandowski.
Second.
And a second by John Badisich. Any questions of the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. You have the bills of $6,322.65. I have a motion to pay the bills.
I'll make that motion.
I got a motion by Barb.
Second.
And a second by John Badisich. Any questions of tonight's bills? Hearing none, can I have a roll call, please?
Lewandowski.
Yes.
Badisich.
Yes.
Alvarico.
Yes.
Boyce.
Yes.
Morelli.
Yes.
All right. I have no other business in general assistance unless anybody has a question. Hearing none, can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
By Barb Boyce, a second by Mike Lewandowski, I believe.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. All right. Moving on to our senior agenda. Again, you have the minutes of the regular September 14th regular meeting last month. I need a motion to pass the minutes. I have a motion by John Badisich,
I'll second
and
it.
a second by Barbara Boyce. Any questions of the minutes? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. We have the bills of $14,155.81. I need a motion to pay the bills tonight.
I'll make that motion.
I got a motion by John Badisich.
I'll second. Go ahead. Either way.
Second by Michael Lewandowski. Any questions of the bills tonight? Hearing none, I need a roll call, please.
Lewandowski.
Yes.
Badisich.
Yes.
Alvarico.
Yes.
Boyce.
Yes.
Morelli.
Yes.
Look to see this. Get down. Oh, that's the correction in the town. Okay. All right. Going back to our senior fund, I just wanted to read under new business. I did want to read the letter. We did have a workshop on this today, but I wanted to read this into the record of our regular meeting. I did receive a letter from Standard Shuttle. It says, Mr. Alvarico, the purpose of this letter is to provide an adequate notice of our intent to cancel our contract with Lockport Township. We regret to inform you that under the current conditions, we will not be able to continue to provide transportation service to Lockport Township. The effective date of this termination, of our termination, will be November 1st, 2015. Unfortunately, we cannot cover our basic expenses and realize a responsible profit under the current contract terms. If something can be worked out between now and the effective date, we will be happy to continue our service. We value the relationship that we have developed over the years, but cannot continue to operate our business at a loss. We appreciate your understanding in this matter. That being said, we did have a workshop. It was decided that at the workshop that we will be taking over the bus service as of November 1st, and we will be doing our due diligence to get all the proper paperwork and everything done to get this done. That being said, I have no other business in the senior. I would ask, unless there's any other questions, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We have a motion by John,
I'll second it.
and second by Mike. All in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, moving on to our town fund. Again, we have the minutes of the regular September 14th meeting last month. Everybody should have received in their packet. I need a motion to pass the minutes.
I'll make that motion.
I got a motion by Barb.
Second.
I got a second by Dean Morrell. Any questions of the minutes tonight? Hearing none? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you very much. You have the bills of $82,579.02. I need a motion to pay the bills tonight.
I'll make that motion to pay the bills.
A motion by John Dodisich,
I'll second it.
and a second by Barbara Weiss. Any questions? Hearing none, can I have a roll call, please?
Lewandowski.
Yes.
Badisich.
Yes.
Alberico.
Yes.
Boyce.
Yes.
Morelli.
Yes.
We will dispense of our assessor's report, since she is not here tonight. Move on to the clerk's report.
Thank you, Ron. Last month I told you about the baby wellness clinic. I don't know if you wanted to do it now, Ron, or you want to wait until I...
Well, I have it under old business.
Okay. So I just...
Go ahead and say what you want to say, and then we'll just
Just
vote
would
on it.
like to update you on that clinic and pass out a little flyer that we're going to be passing out to the schools. So, as you know from last month's meeting, our target date to begin this program of our baby youth wellness clinic is December 1st, 2015. And we will be meeting with Dr. Young and Dr. Longing tomorrow to go over this flyer and some other loose ends. So if anybody has any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, I think we're going to approve this under old business. So that's all I have for tonight.
Okay. All right, moving on. We'll go on to Central Square. Or first of all, I'm sorry, trustees' comments or suggestions. Do we have any comments or suggestions tonight from our board of trustees?
Sir.
All right, moving on. I did want to bring you up to date on Central Square. As you came in today, I'm sure you all saw that we have a lot of construction equipment out there, JLG lifts and hoists and stuff. We are doing the roof. We started last week. I think it's going to take, I was told it's going to take anywhere from 40 to 45 days to complete. Seems to be going well. We haven't had any rain yet this week at all. They've been working every day. I know that they did approve a contract while I was out of town last month. They did go to open bid. The bidding came back and they went through the contract. And it was, they did a contract not to exceed $256,000, just to let you know what the number is going to cost on this. I think they cut back a little bit. There were some projects they wanted to do that came in a little high, and they're cutting back. I know one of the projects I was told is they were going to put some pathways in the existing attic, so it'd be easier to move around, so you're not walking on the old joists or something, you know, accidentally fall through when you have workers up there, but they cut back. There are some paths now, but they were going to make them bigger and more accessible to the attic area, but they're going to cut back on that to save money. Other than that, I did want to bring up, I wanted to tell the audience out there, but obviously we're not on TV tonight, but Christmas in the Square is going to be Saturday, November 28th of next month. It's always a good time, 1:30 to 4:30 for the kids, bring them out. Hopefully we'll have some of our township officials out there this year to enjoy, and we have good weather. It's usually a lot of fun if we got some good weather. Okay, new business. Everybody should have received in their packet a letter, and I will read the letter from the Knights of Columbus. It says, Lockport Township, we at the Knight of Columbus, Perez Council, 1176, have always appreciated and reversed the relationship we have with the community, especially under your leadership. It has been brought to my attention that your organization is providing automated external defibrillators, ADAs, or AEDs, to nonprofit organizations in the community. As we host approximately 12 events every year with a good representation being seniors, we are inquiring as to whether or not the Knights might qualify for one of the AEDs. Some of the events that we have hosted include, but are not limited to, the following: pancake breakfasts, comedy nights, special dinners, and recently discussed hosting an event for veterans with Father Jim at St. Denis Parish. It is also important to note that some of our members of the Knights of Columbus are very elderly. We are not ignoring the fact that any person of any age may be in need of the use of an AED, and our prayer is that we never need it. However, if we do, we would like to be able to save someone's life. Please consider this humble request. I think it's a good idea. We have given them to Lago Vista, I believe, and Caroline Lakes, all of our senior housing places. I would take it out of projects. We have the money in line item projects, line item in town fund, but it is up to the board. And he asked me if we would do this. I said I'd bring it to my board and ask. So is there any discussion? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that I wasn't introduced. You want to say something? Want to come up and say something, please?
I'm here or there?
Yeah,
That'd
be fine.
My name is Greg Borak. I am the Grand Knight of the Knights of Columbus. I wrote this letter to you guys, and I appreciate you bringing it up and your efforts that you've put forth so far to especially help those communities where that may be more in need. We do put on quite a few events, and we appreciate your consideration in this request if the board feels that it's worth it.
Well, it's I did actually I didn't do it. I appreciate it. Jen, you figured out you got a quote on the price of one of these, and I handed it. I believe everybody's got it over there. It's about $1,500. That's one quote. I think, if it's approved here tonight, I will check into a couple of places. See, I'd like to get 3 quotes. I just feel comfortable getting 3 places, but
these are basically through my job. I had one of our employees, our EMS coordinator, who goes through the process of getting quotes and stuff. He's the one that forwarded this to me, but you're welcome to go ahead and obviously get a couple more quotes, but this is who we deal with at Lockport Township, fire districts.
And I'll be the first to admit I know nothing about these machines, whether there's Cadillacs or Chevys, and but it's up to this board. I will make the motion to buy one.
John, did they ever offer these like grants or stuff like that? I thought I remember in our department we had like a grant writer that.
I know recently, maybe when they first came out, but not that I know recent. Basically, we buy this stuff like our cardiac monitors that we carry in the ambulance. This is the same company that also supplies these AEDs. But they're a lot more simpler to use.
It's my understanding.
Basically, you turn it on and it's going to talk you where to put the pads, when to shock, how to stay clear. So everything is just step by step, very, very simple to use.
Is there any training involved with that?
There could be, you maybe able to set something up through our, through the fire district, but like I said, they're pretty easy.
And I'd appreciate that we have, hopefully have, a couple guys on the council, get trained. I've been trained through my job, so I'm a little more familiar with, as John talks about them, how they work and what you need to do.
With this in your facility, would this be something that's put away, or would it be mounted on the wall? Or would it be
Well, the quote has the cabinet included, so that's a good thing. Unfortunately, if we mount it on the wall, then if we have an event, our council represents both St. Joe's and St. Denis, so we have events at both places. We probably take it with us at first and keep it with our supplies that we move. And that's the intent, so that if the Knights have an event, if we're at St. Joe's, we still have it. If we are at St. Denis, we still have it. If we're in Carl Hall, which is underneath the sanctuary, it's there. If we're over in the gym, we have it there. So, it's one of those things where, getting one is a good start, but we know that's not all we need. So until we can get a couple more, and certainly don't want to stress this board, out and say, hey, we need 5. To say if we can get one, just get the ball rolling, that'd be a great start. And until we get those multiples, then we would eventually mount them and leave those in certain locations.
All right. Well, I made a motion.
I'll second.
We have a second. Any other questions before we take a roll call on it?
Obviously, if it doesn't need the cabinet right now, it'll be a little cheaper, of course.
Okay.
Looks like a carrying case will be $100, $170 cheaper. So do when you do your comparison.
Okay, yeah. Can I have a roll call, please?
Lewandowski,
Yes.
Bodisich,
Yes.
Alrico,
Yes.
Boyce,
Yes.
Marley,
Yes.
I will ask John to help me maybe do the research on it, because you know how to order them, and so we will go ahead and get that. I appreciate you coming and talking.
Thank you. I appreciate you
I'm
guys.
sorry I didn't realize who you were.
Oh, no problem.
thanks, Greg.
Sure take it away.
All right. Yeah. Well, I got blurry, I can't see that. These are just reading glasses, so it didn't help me at all. All right, next on the agenda, I was going to do a little talking here, but since it's not being televised this month, I did want to bring up the Halloween hours for all our towns coming up. They are going to be between 4 and 7 on Saturday, October 31st. I did want to mention that the newsletter is coming out this week, and we are doing a coloring contest, ages 3, 4, 5, and 6. Please, visit our website for all the details and a little contest for the kids. The newsletter should be delivered, like I said, this week. I put the things in motion with the post office on Friday. I put the check in there for postage. So Maryland was supposed to either deliver it to the post office on Friday or Saturday, so it should be in the mail. People should be receiving their fall newsletter within the next few days. The passports are now, we will start taking applications for passports in my office. Anybody needs a passport, feel free to come to my office. The first couple, I imagine, we'll stumble through because we're not, we don't have the experience, but be patient with us. We will hopefully get that down to a science. Old business, the youth committee. I do want us to vote on the approval of the youth committee program. I would ask for that we sponsor it's December 1st is the date?
That's what we're hoping.
I
Like
hope
I
we do
said,
it.
I'm going to be talking with them tomorrow.
So if we can go ahead and do it, I'd like to give the committee our blessing to go ahead. I will need a motion.
I'll make it.
I got a motion by Dean.
I'll second it.
I got a second by Barbara. There is no money involved in this motion, so I think we can just do all in favor. Aye?
Aye.
All against? Ayes have it. I hope this baby youth clinic is going to be a really good shot in the arm for our township. I think it's going to help our residents. I'm looking forward to, I know we're starting out with baby steps, but hopefully it'll take off and we'll do great.
Thank you.
Also, under old business, I have the, after a few months of discussion and going back and forth between the city of Romeoville and the township, our attorney and their attorney did come up with an intergovernmental agreement for the Siren over at College View. Basically, our attorney reviewed it, gave us our blessing on this. He agrees with it. It basically, all it does is says Romeoville is going to push the button to test it every month, and should the bad weather come, they will initiate the tornado warnings on that, in that area. We still own it, we still maintain it, we still do everything, it's still ours. All we're doing is taking the jurisdiction from the city of Lockport and giving it to Romeoville, since most of the sirens around that area are all by Romeoville. It didn't make any sense for Lockport to be setting off one siren on that side of the river. So with that being said, I need a motion to approve the intergovernmental agreement. Anybody? You're killing me.
I'll make the
I
motion.
got a motion by Michael Rudowski. Don't be shy.
I'll second.
I got a second by Barbara Boyce. Can I have a roll call?
Lewandowski,
Yes.
Bodisich,
Yes.
Alberico,
Yes.
Boyce,
Yes.
Morelli.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Thank you. Everybody in their packet should have gotten a TOI legislation survey. It comes every year. Basically, it's asking for advice from you guys for any new legislation you think would be important for the state of Illinois concerning township government. Feel free to fill that questionnaire out, mail it back in if you feel like it. If you have any concerns. The only other thing I have is I did get a thank you. You know, we did do our pilot program for shingles. I did get a thank you from one of our residents, actually two of them. We appreciate the generosity of the township office in cooperation with Walgreens to get our shingles vaccination. It would have cost us $250 each. Thank you so much, Marjorie Bernie Bertino. I thought that was very nice. I think that shingle shot was very successful. I'm very happy with the way it turned out. I did see last month's meeting, I know I wasn't here, I did see a copy of it. I know there were some questions about those two shots. We did have all 25 asked for. One we didn't give out because the lady that wanted it, husband was in chemotherapy, and that's a live virus, and she couldn't take the shot being a live virus and taking it home to her husband. The other one was a resident that fell and couldn't, you know, she was incapacitated to come and get the shots that day. So those are those two shots. I'm kind of holding those two shots for those two people when they're capable, since they did sign up first. And like I said, this was a pilot program. We do have to get the bugs out of the system. When we first did it, I didn't think it was a good idea to have a list. You know, I thought I'd give out the 25 and rather than get a waiting list. I thought it'd get too crazy and get too confusing. I just cut it off at 25. Maybe that's a mistake. Maybe that's one of the bugs we got to get out of the system if we do this in the future. But I would like to have our Board of Trustees really consider for next year's budget of putting this in every quarter. It was very successful. People liked it. I hear, even at the breakfast today, I heard a lot of good comments about it, and people are excited about it. So if we can look at our budget next year, if we can feel we can do it, I'd like to do $5,000 every quarter, see where it goes. But we'll discuss that at budget time. Other than that, I do want to invite everybody to the breakfast again. We did one today. We got tomorrow's and Wednesdays. And very successful today. We had a lot of fun. Look forward to seeing you guys if you can make it. If not, you know, you're missing the good times. But
Ron, how much did we spend on that 5,000? 22 people.
I don't have that number in front of me. It was about, I think it was about 29,000 or something like that.
29.
30,000. Because, 3,000, I'm sorry, I'm thinking, because we only initiated $5,000. It was under the 5,000 though, I know that. I can get you that number though.
No, I just wondered how close it came, you know, like if that was a good number or not.
Well, the way I did it, only because this is new and we're not sure, I did 25 people with the idea if we have to pay the whole thing. If somebody's insurance paid 80%, then we only paid 20% of it, we saved money. If we paid 50%, then we saved money. But I didn't want to gamble on not having to pay them all. So that's why I cut it off at 25. Next year, if we do it, I think I'll have a waiting list, and if it comes in under, we can afford 5 more shots, we'll bring those 5 more people in and get as many as we can in until we get to our maximum of $5,000 spent. But that's what the pilot program is. It's, we're trying to get the bugs out of the system and feel the best way to get it done.
The nice thing about shingles, that's just a once in a lifetime deal.
Once in a lifetime
So
shot.
all those people that got them last year or the last time, now it's always gonna be new people.
It's always
and
new
it's not like a
people.
flu shot.
We've had some people ask for a second shot, and we told them, no, it's once in a lifetime, you don't need it. All right, other than that, I have nothing else. Any other questions or? Hearing none, I will call for adjournment.
I'll make the motion.
Second. A motion by Mike and a second by John. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming.